Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men. This is episode 10. My guest today is a good friend of mine. He's a bartender and professor of mixology, a whiz behind the bar, Mr. Colin D. Before we start, I just want to throw a shout out there for any friends, any listeners, any family, other podcasts, anybody who's been showing us love and support. I just want to say thank you. It means the world to me. So yeah, just a big thank you to everyone. And what do I want to do from here on out? I want to make it a part of the show just to spread more positive energy and good vibes. We want to give shout outs to other podcasts, to any local businesses, anybody who we could help, even in the smallest way. We want to do our part, promote a healthy community, just put good vibes out there, man. That's what good men do, right? So, yeah, might as well start with us. As for now, let's get started with the show. Here it is, my talk with Colin D.
Martini Two Olives. Any ladies need some entertainment tonight?
$8.50.
$8?
And 50 cents.
Well, how much just for a plain cranberry juice?
Oh, $3.
I'll go for that.
There you go. That's $11.50.
No, perhaps you misunderstood me. I wish to cancel my original order of the Martini and Two Olives and go for just the plain cranberry juice by itself for the $3. And I apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused you.
Perhaps you don't understand. If you don't pay me now, I'm going to take this swizzle stick and I'll be shoving that right up your pee hole.
So that was $11.50, right?
Right.
All right, so Colin, you're here, my good friend,
Yes.
longtime friend. Now let me ask you this: do you prefer mixologist, bartender? What do you? Is there a term that you prefer?
It's now just bartender.
Okay.
It was mixologist to differentiate the I always have trouble with that word. That's why I looked at it. And I think it was to make, because bartenders were like, shots, beers.
Yeah. What do you want, a shot or a beer?
What we did in our 20s, like just go to a bar, and then now you spend a little more money and you go to these craft bars, and then it's a mixologist because they work with ingredients and flavors and all this and that. But now,
I felt it was too pretentious.
yes, yeah, basically, and now
Too many guys with twisty mustaches and bow ties.
Yep, exactly. So now us mixologists don't really like being put on a pedestal because bartenders, even though maybe they're not making the same kind of drinks, we do the same job.
Same kind of guy as you, man. Yeah. We have the same Dale DeGroff poster on our bedroom wall.
Yep. Yeah, and it's that nice skinny stir poster on my wall.
So, how long have you been actually tending bar?
15 years.
But you've been in the service industry for longer.
Okay, so yes.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Let's see. What are we now? We're at 30. I'm 34.
34.
So, I started when I was 19. So 15 years.
Okay.
15 years I've been doing the service industry. Most of the time, for the first 5-6 years, that was college. And then
gave the old college try.
Yes, and then being a musician. Mm-hmm. So it was really just to have ends meet, And I think in my third or fourth year into doing the service industry, I was asked to bartend, and I just knew the money was better. than serving. So I did that, and then I just kind of
Stuck with it?
yeah.
How much better is the money? I think is it
Nowadays, it can flip flop.
really?
Yeah, I mean, where I work now, we all make our money together, so it doesn't matter who makes
You guys
more.
pool tips?
Mhm.
Yeah. There's always like a controversy about that, like whether or not the staff prefers that. What do you-
Yeah, I've done in both. I've done both scenarios, and it all depends on who you're working with.
It depends on the people, or
Yes,
it depends.
Yes, yeah, it depends on your coworkers. That's what people think. That's what people think when you say pooling tips, because they're like, well, what happens if someone's not pulling their weight and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, in that kind of situation and environment, then it would be probably worse to do that, because then you're being dragged down, or the other person not, showing for what they can do and whatever. But it was better for me. I made more money, but I'm not saying that a bartender makes more money than a server.
Well, in certain situations. Okay, I'm back. I'll cut that out. Sorry. Anyway.
And we're back.
Yeah, a couple.
We'll go on a
edit
commercial
points.
break.
Yeah. Sorry, we had to go do a line. That's going to get cut out too. So, a lot of people say service industry, that's something you do for college. You're a college student, you're going to make a little extra money on the side. What I want to talk about is people that decide to go into that as a career. Because obviously there are people that do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's safe to say you're one of them at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I mean, personally, I've already grown in this industry as it is now. I see it in a whole different light for where I was and I am now. I've seen colleagues of mine move up, and now they make a living working in the industry as well.
doing what? Like managing?
So I mean, in corporate worlds, you can get promoted and promoted and promoted, and people make a living just doing that. And I have a few friends that have become managers in the corporate restaurants, and that's what they do now. And they all have like college degrees too. I have a college degree as well, but when I was looking for a job then, it was a little harder, and this is now what I know, and I think I'm good at it. I would hope so, because then I'm doing the wrong thing. But
Well, I've had quite a few of your cocktails, so
yes,
I can attest.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You've got the beard for it.
Yes. With great beard comes great responsibility. I saw this documentary once that kind of opened my eyes to craft cocktailing.
Hey, bartender.
Yes. Yeah.
You made me watch it.
Yes. So if you remember, near the end of that documentary, they literally just asked every single person that was filmed, or bar and servers, and everyone said their college degree, and everyone has like bachelor's, associates. Some people probably even have a master's, but they just go in a different direction. People can definitely have a career with it. Lifestyle is a little more to
Yeah, that's the rub right there.
that's a little more to get to used to. But
Well, yeah, I mean you're legit working the opposite of everybody
the rest of the
else.
world.
Yeah.
It's the rest of the world, yes. And you're ever so lucky to find other people that can kind of work with you.
Well, see,
that way.
that's got to be why, like, the restaurant people, like, they're all friends with each other. They all hang out together because they're the only other people on that schedule.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, every time I see these people more than I see my family. So,
Yeah, well, that's not saying much considering they live out of state.
Yes. Well, back not then. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
Years ago, but yeah, it's I mean, that's why I guess they kind of flock to each other, because we all work the same hours, and up at the same hours, sleeping at the same hours, working the same hours. But I mean, for me, I'm pretty much just used to it.
Yeah, it's been over a decade now. I think it's
Yes.
You better be used to it by now.
Yeah. But I would like to not work these hours anymore one day, you know, and, you know, have something. I would still love to stay in this industry, but we'll see what comes.
Get used to living like the other half again.
Yeah, but we'll see.
One day.
I like the nightlife, so every night's a party.
Yeah, that's party. We did an episode about like band life, and we talked about how you know, while everybody else is out, you're working. Mm-hmm. So it's a big, you know, adjustment coming back to normal like 9 to 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. I remember you guys quit after losing your weekends.
It got
because everybody was hanging out and partying, and you guys had to play music for us partying.
Well, it's like once it's not fun anymore, it's like, why am I doing this with my life? Mm-hmm. Like that's one of the big things that keeps you in it is that it's fun. You enjoy that lifestyle. Right. So once you get past that point when it's like, what am I getting out of this? It makes the decision easy. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to where we were. Let's get back to the beginning here. You start off as a server, become a bartender. You watch this documentary, Hey Bartender.
That was also 10 years, maybe like
10 years in.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say a little less.
Yeah, you're right, a little less than that. Yeah, because I was still working in my other job when I saw that, and it was corporate bartending. So,
yeah, that was way before where you are now.
So, but it's funny because I kind of took what I learned and was exposed to, and I started utilizing it in my corporate bartending, and it just was like, I was always looked weird because they were like, "What are you doing? Can you just stick to the menu?
Are you trying to be a hero?
Yeah. Stop trying to change everything." So
they want Bud Light, give them a Bud Light.
Exactly.
Bud Light doesn't come with an orange peel.
Yeah. Well, no beer should come with an orange peel.
I don't drink Blue Moon with the orange in it. I don't like it.
It's not needed.
It's not.
It's orange enough.
It tastes good. Yeah. You don't need to mess with it.
It's an orange beer.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Correct.
All right, there you go. This is coming straight from the industry, people. If I see you with an orange, I reserve the right to break your balls.
Yeah. No fruit on beer.
So what do you think, like, when you decided you wanted to go take it to the next level, when you wanted to become a mixologist, quote unquote, like what changed? Like what did you start doing? What was different between the day before when you were just a bartender and the day after?
Being proud of what I was putting out to guests. Mm-hmm. You know, like creating. That's what it was, because I mean, I've always been creative, and it was kind of just like the routine every day, the same thing, you know, and it's corporate world, you know, we all do it anyways, you know, we all just get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep kind of thing. Even though I wasn't getting up and going to sleep at the same hours, it was still the same routine over and over again. And in the craft world and the craft bartending, it was like, holy crap, people can create cocktails. Like I thought, like someone just was like, "This is what you make. This is it." Like I thought it was like years and years of drinks that you learn.
Yeah, this is a standard drink. Just learn the book, and you got it.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was almost like chefs of the bartending world. You know, you use all kinds of stuff, and then it just exploded, because then when I realized that, then I was itching to be more creative, and so I started doing that, and then I started doing private events and being able to create drinks for events and, you know, for not so competitions yet, but
like private parties and like rich folks get-togethers.
Yeah, or even if somebody wanted a drink for their wedding, you know, and they're like, "We want to do something for a wedding."
You got like contracted out just to create
they would
certain
come
drinks.
To me. Yeah, they'd come to me and be like, "So."
Did not know that.
Yeah, they'd be like, "So we want to have a drink for our wedding. Like this is what we like to drink." And then, you know, you make up something, and obviously if you make it up, then it's like no one's ever had it before, so it's a cool thing. Original. You go to their wedding, you're like, "Wow, this is a really cool drink."
Yeah, all we had was jambalaya at my wedding.
Yeah. and beer, I think.
I think we had beer.
I think I started bartending at your wedding, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, I think Drew told him.
We had to cut a lot of corners.
Yeah.
I DJ'd at my own wedding.
Yeah, that's
so there
true.
You go.
That's true. I did at one moment and screwed it up. So.
What are you gonna do? No, actually, no, you didn't. You did the right thing.
Dude, I was in a room. I didn't even know when I was playing press or stop. Play or stop.
No, you got it. It worked out.
That's good.
My wife married me. She's still here, so you could have done that better job.
Yeah, true.
So, all right, here's something I want to ask you about. For a lot of people, everybody knows those places, those bars and clubs we go out to, where all the bartenders are just, chesty women with black T-shirts, and that's what they do. It's not like they're not mixologists, so to speak. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just there just to serve the beers and the well drinks or whatever. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. What do you think of that? Like, do you think that's fine if that's the kind of place it is, or is it just kind of like, you know what I mean? I don't know if there's like industry snobs, so to speak. They looked at, I can't believe they would do that. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
like think of like the way Gordon Ramsay would look at a McDonald's.
Okay, so pertaining to that, I don't see that way towards how they present themselves, because honestly, how the staff is dressed or how they are presented is all based on the business, and there's a reason for it.
Touche.
And the environment it's in. Now, the Gordon Ramsay thing, that gets very a little overwhelming sometimes, because I'll be honest with you, I sit down at a bar and I can't stop thinking about what they're doing behind there and what's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you pinpoint things, and it's not really the staff. I mean, unless you have like someone who's just like an ass to you, or like they just suck at their job. But the way they present themselves and whatever is not really for me to judge. But there are things that I think habits, you would call it, bad habits that aren't trained properly, and you just if you come from like a good bartending background or a good, nice craft bar or something like that, and you learn the right ways, you like cringe. Yeah.
I think anybody in any kind of trade kind of does that. You
Very
go in
true.
And you're thinking about what you would do if that was your job.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like as an electrician, I go in, I'm like, I can't believe they put 2 90s back to back in that that pipe run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we all do that. So, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to disparage the girls that do that, because I assume there's good money to be made there. You know what I mean? And
there's a reason why
there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just, like I said, I don't know. Like, I see a lot of guys in the industry, like, who call themselves mixologists. A lot of man buns, a lot of, very manicured facial hair.
Did you go to Asbury Park?
Yeah.
You just went to?
That's one of the places. But you know what I mean? Those guys, and they all just seem like snobs. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, I don't know.
Well, it's an issue. Mm-hmm. That's a very big issue in the bartending world, is getting to that level of mastering your craft but not being pretentious about it.
Yeah, some people go
It's full blown. Like, that is the number one thing that we try not to be when you're at a certain level in your craft, because it's like it's still a really new craft. People are still being introduced to craft bartending. The craft beer thing, that's been going on for a while, so it's kind of, at a plateau. But the craft bartending, people are still being introduced to it. It's still new. So some bartenders, if people aren't familiar with it, they can kind of seem condescending or pretentious. And, that's what you don't want to do. You want to, bring those people in and give them an experience and, wow their brain and be like, this is what alcohol can do. Yeah. Not just get you drunk. It can taste wonderful, and give you an experience. But, that's but you're right. That's, number one, problem that some bartenders can get too high in the clouds. Yeah.
I know I've had experiences. I'm sure you might have too. So, for instance, me and my wife, before we got married, we were in Philly one weekend. And I'm like, let me get a gin mule. And you guys are like, okay, how do you usually make it? And I'm like, gin, ginger beer, lime, and a couple mint leaves. And he's like, Actually, that's a London buck.
Yeah. See,
But I wanted now. I bit my tongue, but I wanted to say, actually, a London buck uses lemon. You fucking douche. You fucking zilch with your man bun.
Yeah. See. Okay. So, even though like he can be correct in his,
But he wasn't, and that's the point.
right?
And he's supposed to know this, not
yes,
me.
Okay. So that's fair. That's just douchey. But, the way, so if somebody did that to me and they were like, they told me like their ingredients and it happened to be a drink that's already like created, you don't have to say it like that. You know what I mean? You can be like, actually, did you know that this is usually called this and that? Or like, it's usually this. Or this is actually kind of like this drink, but that drink uses this.
Yeah, there's a way to deliver it.
Yes, of course, it's all about that. It's literally about how you talk to a guest about that. Like, for me,
You ever run into those guys?
Oh, yeah, of course. Every day you get somebody.
What's your worst one?
I don't know. I haven't really had.
I think you might be too friendly to have
probably
bad experiences like that.
Like somebody telling me their favorite drink.
Just somebody being like a condescending douche, like a bartender, just trying to kind of with the nose up in the air, like, oh, this peasant's coming in to drink in my bar. Did you ever get that vibe
towards me? Probably. I don't know. I can't. It's funny because I think it's because I can play to a bartender. If I know the kind of like vibe they're giving me, then I'm just gonna like sit back and be like, can I just have this drink? And this and that. And then I like to have conversation with the bartenders. So I don't really have bartenders
you think
condescending towards me much anymore. You know what I mean?
Do you think maybe just your natural process is disarming in itself? So they don't even give them. You don't even give them the chance to be condescending. Yeah,
actually, that could be true too. Because I kind of know when I go into a bar, I kind of feel the vibe and see what they got, and then I can read a craft menu and know what it all means most of the time. There's still times I don't, but I think that helps too because then I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Let me ask you this: reverse it now. Now you're on the other side of the bar. How often do you have condescending douches come in, and how do you deal with them?
So, don't really have.
I refuse to believe that there's not.
No. It's drink wise.
Just people that are condescending.
Well, yes. It's usually. Yeah, I mean, yes. People. There are the times that people think that our job is literally being a servant. You know what I mean? Fortunately for me, I don't really run into that anymore.
I guess you're at a good location.
Yes,
good clientele.
It all depends where you go.
Yeah.
My older job, oh man, that was just ridiculous.
You can't say the name on
no,
that. Okay.
No, I'm not going to say the name of
no
either.
Worries.
But my old job in corporate restaurant. There's people definitely it's a chain restaurant. Yeah. Like what do you expect? You know, we can only do the best we can, and they're expecting like fine dining. Like, did you look around yourself? Like,
you realize these tables come with crowns, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. And
we're not exactly at the Palm here,
right?
Let's take it down a notch,
right?
Sir.
But like I said, I've been doing this so long, I'm kind of getting numb to it sometimes. And I actually kind of like to banter back with people who give me that now. It's kind of fun, but it's like a fine line.
It's a delicate dance
of getting in trouble for it, or like you have to really read the person so that like if you do it back at them, they're not gonna be like, "This is ridiculous." Like, where's your manager? Blah blah blah. Like. Kind of if they got tough skin, you can like kind of.
I paid a lot of money for this Jack and Coke.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing like steak to put. Nothing like ketchup put off a good steak. But yeah, it's I guess it all depends where you work. Really, the environment
makes sense.
Depends on how much of you get that. You know, believe it or not, the big cities, you know, where craft cocktail bars are abundant. You know, not so much around here because we're central New Jersey. New Jersey is pushing hard to be on that scene, but like in the cities, the major cities where craft cocktails, the bartenders are all awesome.
Yeah.
They really are. Like I haven't really met somebody that feels like they're better than you are when you go in. But that's how you know it's a good bartender.
Yeah, that's true.
When they want to educate you or like expand your palate or introduce you to new ingredients. That's like the best thing about being a bartender.
But you're right. I mean, it is a very delicate way because you have to know how to deal with people. And obviously everybody's different, so you have to tailor your approach for each person. So you can't be a good bartender without really good people skills.
Exactly.
That's why they say like the bartender's like the like a therapist basically.
Oh yeah.
You got to have an open ear. Now we've talked about before, like everybody that works in restaurants all hangs out together. They all move in the same circles. Let's be honest. The hookups. How often do they occur? Let's get down to brass tacks here.
I'm not gonna lie. I think relationships in restaurants, it's like 80% within the same restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it just, and like I said before, it's all because it lines up. You know, you find someone who does exactly the same schedule. But restaurants are definitely, I think they can become very incestuous, as you would say.
Yeah.
Very Game of Thrones up in here. But
like dragons?
Yeah, yes. There's tons of dragons, actually.
And guys on horseback
Yeah,
with curved swords.
And little people.
And they have fancy facial hair and ponytails.
Yeah, it's all kinds of dire wolves. It's a mess. I don't even know how we serve food.
Where do you work at? Rainforest Cafe?
Oh, that place was awesome as a kid.
Dang, man, that's the best Lone Star I've been to. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Now, do you think it works the same as like any other business or any kind of job would, like an office job or something? You know, there's always like the inter-workplace romance kind of things. Do you think that the like working at a restaurant or a bar is any different, any like better or worse in that area? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, with the way we've had the Me Too movement, people have to be more aware of our interactions between sexes, especially men.
Correct.
Like, we need to be holding ourselves more accountable. You know, we need to call out bad behavior.
Right.
Do you think that this kind of sexual relationships in restaurants and the service industry are like worse? You think?
All right. So, girls in the restaurant business are tough-skinned.
I can see that.
And I'll give you a reason why is because they have to deal with it not from their coworkers,
from the clients,
all the time,
customers.
Yeah, it's just something. It's something you really have to get used to in the business. You know, I mean, obviously there's going to be issues like anywhere else. You know, but I think I say it all the time. It's a certain kind of breed of person that works in the restaurant industry, and I never really experienced it too bad anywhere, really. It's kind of like, it's very loosey-goosey kind of like banter back and forth. I don't know if it's ever...
Well, given that you said women that work in that kind of industry have to have a thicker skin. Like, because obviously... people now you talk to guys that are worried, I can't even tell a woman she looks pretty, without being accused of sexual harassment. Well, like, no, that's not how it works, idiot. Like, yeah, you can't tell a woman, hey, nice tits. That's not cool. Everybody knows that, and it's never been cool. And the guys who do that are the problem. My point is that, do you think women might be more sensitive or less accepting of that kind of, like, you know what I mean, like more flirtatious type talking? Like, when you're with those people, you have a rapport, you're friendly.
Yeah.
The boundaries are a little looser.
Yes.
Like, you can push it a little further.
You're with them constantly, so...
Do you think that's changed or evolved at all, or you think it's pretty much stayed the same?
So I think it's pretty much the interaction between people in the industry, I think, is pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's got any more.
Sensitive.
Yes, exactly. I don't think it really has. Things aren't really that serious. I think it's because it's so high paced, and you really have better things to do than worry about those things at the time. And like I said, you don't really to worry about your coworkers. It's not so much as worrying about like people, not your coworkers. You know, people that expect you to wait on them hand and foot, and then they treat you.
That makes sense. The customers are more of a problem than anything.
Especially because if your coworker does it, you can have a reaction.
Mm-hmm. If a customer doesn't,
you can't do anything, you know, unless it's a serious problem. Then you go, and, you know, then you have someone intervene. But, you know, you kind of have to just roll with the punches that way.
How many times have you seen anything like that?
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen dudes definitely be creepy on female coworkers.
In what way? You don't have to give like names or anything, but like.
Oh, right. Well, believe it or not, girls know when guys are staring all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, that guy is totally staring at me. And then they'll be like, I'm not even turning around anymore because I know he's staring at my ass every time I get something. And then...
You just have to, like, moonwalk away from the table.
Yeah. And it's tough behind the bar because you're kind of in a cage, like a little box. You can't even go anywhere. But, I've seen it. I've seen it plenty of times. I've been even asked to take care of the person because they didn't want to... They just felt uncomfortable and not... take care of that person anymore because they just make them feel uncomfortable as a woman, I guess. And they're like, "Can you just take care of that dude? Like, I can't take it anymore."
Is it? You think it's like a certain type, or just it could be anything?
No. I just think it's men. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, obviously my goal is with the podcast. It's supposed to be a positive space for men. Mm-hmm. A place where we can talk about things that we all see and do, and maybe call out the, you know what, we shouldn't do that anymore.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't understand a way to put it for guys that are, you know, kind of can't help that they come off creepy. They don't realize they do even. But like, how do you explain it to somebody? Hey, maybe don't just stare at this, you know, this 19-year-old girl behind the bar, you know, all rubbing your hands together and never blinking.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how to...
And singing a kitty song.
Yeah, how much clearer can you be that that's not appropriate?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like a lot of guys, they look at that, you know, like a pretty bartender, and they have the same reaction that some guys would have if they go to a strip club and, oh, the stripper likes me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, she works in the service industry. Her job is to make you feel like she does like you. Yep. Because her tip depends on it.
Yes.
I don't know how much clearer you can be with people about that. I mean, maybe to a certain extent, like as men, you almost can't help it sometimes, because when you know, you find a woman attractive, all of a sudden you lose 20 or 30 IQ points. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're pretty.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough. It's tough in this industry because you have alcohol involved.
Oh yeah, well, duh.
It's just which is like the worst enhancer of stupidity. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough thing to have people behave properly when you're giving them alcohol.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be the, you know, beer muscles and all that stuff, and I don't know, like, where do you draw the line when you want to cut somebody off, when you flag somebody?
Okay, I feel like I'm getting tested. It's like slurred speech, unable to walk. Unfortunately,
banging on the bar, shouting, "Nobody loves me!"
Yes, yeah, crying. Believe it or not, it doesn't happen that often.
Really?
I haven't done that many times in my life.
But again, I think it probably depends on where you work.
Correct. It is all the environment. I mean, I've done it all my jobs. Mm-hmm. But it really, I mean, first of all, we know when somebody's having too many drinks, first of all. And it doesn't matter if they don't even show signs of being drunk or like wasty face or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We just know that, okay, you had a lot of drink. But and even if somebody seems put together, you still got to start to watch.
You got to keep count.
Yeah,
pretty much.
especially that person that sits in the chair
It
the
doesn't
whole
get
time
up.
and doesn't get up, and then they finally get up, and you're like, oh, okay, he's been feeling this for a while. He just never showed it because he's been sitting down in the chair.
Just get out of the chair. Unfortunately, he left his legs there.
Yeah, yes, and there's his pants.
It looks like
I've had it happen before.
Looks like Trevor
I've had a guy
Burbick
take
after
off his
fighting
pants
Mike
at the bar.
Tyson. You had a guy take his pants off?
Yes.
Why? 'Cause
At
it
my
was
old
hot?
job, he was showing some person a scar in his inner thigh that was very, very up high,
Oh boy.
and his pants came off. And I was like, "Sir, could you put your pants back on?"
Older gentleman?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that kind of thing happen. When we were in the bands, there's always like the drunk woman who wants to show you her tattoo in like an odd place where it's not easy to get to. So go home. If I unsnap the right side of the bra and then move my arm over my head and then squat down on one knee and roll twice to the left, you can see the butterfly I have that represents my dead grandmother.
Yes. My 7 kids that I had at 21.
It's like Sebastian Maniscalco. I got a snake and the tongue, it's licking the nipple, and that represents my father who died 2 years ago. You know what I mean? There's always those people, and the alcohol just brings it out of them.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Do you ever have somebody, like, I don't know, you ever deal with anybody with a DUI? Like, but the thing is, like, did you ever have a situation where you felt guilty, maybe felt like you should have cut somebody off and you didn't?
Yes.
Yeah?
Totally.
Anybody get hurt or no?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there's definitely moments you're like, this is a couple of years back though, because now Uber is like bartender's best friend.
Oh yeah.
Like if somebody's feeling a little toasty, we will ask them, are you planning on driving this evening? And they're like, no, I have an Uber. So it gives a little bit of leeway. Not that we should keep serving them, but like at least we have that sense of mind that they're going to be safe.
Everybody has the opportunity to get home safe.
Correct. So, but there are times that people left, and you're like, I don't know how that person's getting home, and they probably shouldn't be driving, but like I have no stoppage of this because they just left, kind of thing.
The window closed already.
Yeah, it's actually a huge, serious problem for us bartenders because we can be reliable, or liable.
Held liable.
Yes, be held liable for things if somebody like literally was like, oh, I just came from that place, they could be like, why did you overserve that person? And we have to stand our ground and be like, well, he only had this much and he ate, or like he said that he was getting a ride, blah blah blah. We can't be babysitters.
Yeah.
It's only so much we can do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a bullshit thing. How are you gonna hold them accountable? He's a grown man. You have to be at least 21 years of age to drink. You should be old enough to, be responsible for your own decisions.
Right.
It's kind of a no-brainer, but,
Yeah.
society we live in, maybe not so much.
Yeah, but like I said, it all comes back to the environment. You know, if you're a good establishment, the kind of people that come in aren't looking to get wasted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
They're there to have a good time, go on a date, have a couple good drinks, good food, enjoy their evening. Then, you get like the higher volume bars that, there's just college kids or, like just.
In your eyes, who's the worst kind of customer? Like who is there a type of person that they walk in the door and you're like, ah, Jesus Christ. Because, I
maybe
feel
like.
Go ahead.
Maybe like high maintenance people.
Like in what sense?
They think they are. What's the word I'm looking for?
Entitled to
your
full attention at all times.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
That's the word.
That's exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it is because pretty much it's hard to ask me these questions because I've been doing so long, so I kind of adapted to deal with different kinds of people.
I mean, like say you go after work, Like you sit down with other bartenders. Like what's the kind of stuff? Do you talk shop?
Oh yeah.
Like what kind of stuff is
Oh
there?
yeah. It's like basically all we talk about until we go home.
But that's what
it's a previous shift.
That's what I want to get. That's the meat I want to get to here, because like as electricians, we sit down. I did this job, and the guy he wanted these lights here, and you can't do it because the ceiling's not deep enough. You know what I mean? Like industry talk.
We talk about our good tables. We talk about our bad tables. We talk about what incidents happened that evening. It's usually like pretty calm before the storm, and then like shit hits the fan, and everyone's like yelling at each other. Like a normal restaurant, and everyone's like stressed out, moving really fast paced, this and that, and then it's like the end of the night, we're like, haha, we all love each other.
What is it that causes all that strife? Just
busy
volume,
work.
just
Yeah,
busy?
it's busy work. It is. It's it's if you have a good coworkers, you become family, so you kind of bicker like brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens as well. And of course, like in that fast pace, you're just looking to someone to blame for something. You know what I mean? It's cold out. Why did you do that? It's just like yelling at someone for no reason. And you're like, well, that was stupid. And then you laugh about it at the end of the night, and you're like, I don't even know why that happened.
Todd, I don't know why you would put the Glenlivet on the third spot from the left on the second shelf. You know it does not belong there.
Exactly. Oh, I asked for a spoon.
Yeah.
You gave me a dessert spoon.
You gave me a dessert spoon with a swizzle stick end.
Yep.
What
Not
is this?
look.
What is this? TGI Fridays? Jesus! It's like amateur hour here. Oh, here we go. What is this stuff you're drinking?
It is it's a Berliner Weiss. It's a style. It's a low hop, more wheat and yeast forward.
Mm-hmm.
But a Weiss usually has a sour.
Aftertaste?
Yes, it becomes sour, but the process of making a Weiss is a souring process, so it comes out a little bit sour, not to a full like Goza, which is a sour beer.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it was intended to be. But it's a no hop, and it has like a little bit of a sweet sour finish. There's like the IPAs that are hop forward, and it's just, oh God, I could talk about beer forever.
Let me ask you a very direct question, and don't lie to me. How much of this craft beer stuff is just a white guy's version of pumpkin spice lattes? I mean, be honest.
Not that much anymore.
No?
Okay, so if you say version of, meaning like a niche or like a trend.
Like you see the memes of like four guys with beards and like a beer in their hand, and it says many IPAs died that day.
Yes. Yes, it's come to
starting to the pendulum swing back the other way. It's calming down.
What happens is you can only do so much with things.
Mm-hmm.
Especially there's like 1,000 different beer styles. But you can only do so much. So now, because craft beer has blown up so much, there is that need to be different and different. Did I say that twice?
Different and different?
Yes, the need to be different from everybody else that's making their craft beer. So everyone's like taking like crazy steps of putting weird things in their beer.
There's only so different you can be before it's not even beer anymore.
Correct. Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the concoctions these breweries are doing are awesome. Mm-hmm. But craft beer has the most trends that I've ever seen in this industry. It's just crazy.
It's almost like wines now, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wish that we all just stuck with wine forever and ever.
I'm fine with wine.
I think wine should have just been. I mean, that's what people drank forever and ever.
Still drink it. I just bought 2 bottles today. The Baccio. That shit is amazing.
Which one is it?
If you look that bottle right there on the right, it's called Baccio. It's Chianti.
Okay.
It's tremendous. $10.99 for a bottle.
Yeah.
One of the best bottles you'll ever have.
Brand drop.
Oh, no. Like, that's cool. I don't know them. Maybe they'll send me some bottles.
Sweet.
Maybe, one of my few handful of listeners works for the company.
The random dude, he's like, oh, I've been said. I've been noticed.
I'm all about the shout outs on this.
Yeah.
Because I shout out other podcasts, friends of mine. We're going to do a shout out for the Dapper Men's Den. Anybody in Central Jersey needs some grooming?
I did a
gentlemen.
I did a bartending private event for them.
There you go.
So if anybody
support
wants,
our friends and local businesses.
Anybody wants drinks while they get their beard shaved, I am totally the dude. I like that place.
Yeah, I want to go in there now that my beard's getting a little thicker. It was worse when I was in Europe. Like it was.
She literally has her own bar there.
Is it like a real bar?
She has a bar. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's not like what you would think in a restaurant, but she has like a bartender's bar there, and it was great.
Nice.
It was really nice. It was really cool. It made it really easy. So I told her, if anybody wants to get drunk while getting a haircut,
just not the stylist.
Yeah, da-da-da. No running with scissors.
This is gonna turn into Sweeney Todd soon.
Mm-hmm. Besides, except the musical.
Yeah, and no British accents.
No.
Well, doesn't somebody there kind of look like Helena Bonham Carter?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I know.
Not yet, at least.
Well, it's just starting. But hey, if you need your beard trimmed, your hair cut, Dapper Men's Den, go check them out. A friend of the pod. Anyway,
you needed like background music for that.
Yeah. How often do you like bartend for private functions?
Not that very often.
No.
It's only because scheduling. Events are on weekends. So that's when I work, and it depends, if I can, it depends on what's given to me and if I can have the time off. They're a lot of fun. I used to do it, before I'm working at my current job, but I can always send them to other people too, anybody who's available.
Do you, because I know I had this problem when I was in the band. Do you find it hard to maintain any kind of relationship with other people, like whether it's friends or like romantic relationships? Do you think that being in that industry makes it specifically harder, or do you think that it's just kind of a case-by-case basis?
Yes.
Yeah. That is a hard yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is. It's definitely hard to keep because of the hours, and the lifestyle, and the whole. I mean, we work on weekends, and most people don't. So you have to have like different days to do things with your significant other or something like that.
Oddball off days.
Yeah. So I think that's why, pertaining to what we were talking about before, I think that's why dating somebody in the same kind of genre helps a little more, because you kind of live the same lifestyle. So if you're with somebody, that's opposite, it can work. If that person's willing to work with you and your hours and this and that. So it's funny because like in this industry, we are probably the most flexible with taking days off and hours.
Bartenders?
Yeah, because if you're not like owning a place or a manager,
that's true.
you take days off. You can request off for vacations whenever. Not like if you're
cover your shift.
Right, exactly. Not if you're like working a corporate job, or you're a nurse, or like a doctor, or anything where like you have a set vacation time. This and that. So like I think that's kind of ironic that like we have the most flexibility to do whatever whenever, but it's an issue because we're always working nights and weekends. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's a tricky balance.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in the industry and you're dating someone who is in the industry, I don't know. If, like, as a guy, when I was younger, I found that if I dated a girl who worked at a restaurant or at a bar, I was like, why is she so close with the so-and-so, that coworker? You know what I mean? Like, it's a different animal being in that. Even from the outside looking in, it's just clear, like, it's not like any other workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
Game of Thrones.
So, let me ask you.
There be dragons.
Yeah. what do you see like long term with this? Like where can you go?
So, in my status of bartender, there's several ways you can end up owning your own place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of great bars across the nation that, you know, the person has done every job in the restaurant, and then they decide, I'm going to open my own place and, you know, get the right people to work with you in that way. It's just like being a chef. You know, the chefs do the same thing. They start from the bottom, you know, and then they train or learn from a mentor, and then like they get their name out there and well known, and then they have the opportunity to open their own place, and then it can be successful or not successful. But there's other options. A good friend of mine was one of the best bartenders I know, and he was a huge mentor for me, and he went to liquor distribution. So
Distribution?
yes, I think I said masturbation. Maybe
Distribution?
distribution.
Scientific term, ladies and gentlemen. Don't look it up. Just trust it's real.
So he's like the head mixologist for a distributing company, which is what he does. But now he doesn't work the crazy hours that we do. You know, and it's actually probably a really cool job because all he does is go to bars and meet with his fellow bartenders, you know, tell them what you could do with certain liquors, and then and call it a day.
What do you mean, like what you can do with certain
So,
liquors?
like a brand will come to him or his company and try to sell that brand, and they'll give him, you know, the brands, some of the stuff. What he does, he'll work with it, you know, make cocktails with it, see what works, what doesn't work. And then they're part of their selling process is, you know, they come to a bar, depending on the kind of bar. If you're going to a well-renowned like craft bar or something like that, you give them a vodka or a rum or a whiskey. You don't really need to tell them what kind of drinks it could be made. You know,
Pretty
you just have to
standard.
give them a taste and a flavor profile. Usually someone can figure it out. But there's other times that, you know, bars like, well, what do we need this whiskey for when we have these whiskeys? And they'll be like, well, if you make this kind of cocktail with this whiskey, it gives a whole nother dimension to it or something like that. So it's like some selling marketing process.
Okay. But you have to know your shit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I can't imagine you just say, oh, yeah, well, this pairs well with bar peanuts because
Because it makes you thirsty and then you get hungry.
it makes you thirsty and then you got to just drink more.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And then you make more of the monies.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then there's also liquor ambassadors, which I think is a really cool job.
First of all, it's a great title.
Yes, right?
It sounds like it's a probably more important sounding name than
Right?
the job
like,
itself.
Like you walk into a room and they're like,
Yeah.
that's the ambassador. Like, you're like, I am an ambassador for tequila. Like,
I feel like it should involve some kind of cape.
yeah,
Or
oh,
like
definitely.
Like a long, like a
Yes.
overcoat,
Yes.
maybe some headwear.
Or overalls.
Overalls. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Ambassador?
no.
What the fuck kind of fugazi
Whiskey.
ambassador wears? Okay. You win. Moving on.
Yes.
Well, what the hell is that?
So it's a brand name will hire you to sell their booze, in other words, and
You're a sales rep.
kind of, yes.
A sales rep with a cape.
But you will go to events and make cocktails
Okay.
with using their stuff, and that's how you sell. You're not just saying like, oh, this brand was made here, and they use this kind of distilling, process and blah blah blah. Like this person goes to events and makes drinks with these things, and still selling the product, but they're not really on the foregrounds of the business aspect. They're more of
making a
the
presentation.
marketing. Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Presenting the liquor as it is, and they get sent in name of that brand.
Now, do they get to pick their own cape, or does the company supply it?
I think
Either is it tax deductible?
yeah, I think so. But I mean, capes are dangerous. We all know that.
We've all seen The Incredibles.
Yes, no capes, no capes at all.
Do you want to own a restaurant? You want to own a bar?
No,
Why?
it's one of the most failing businesses out there. It is a tough thing to get into. There's just so much. Oh my god.
Inconsistency.
No.
Hand gestures.
Yes. You can't see my hands doing this
Yeah,
because you're
audio
just
only.
listening. Competition between other things. It's now I knew where I was going with that, but now I just found out the word, and I was thinking about that. Now I'm all.
It's a hard business because everybody's fighting.
Yeah.
For a
I was
limited
gonna say.
customer
I
base.
always say there's 3 things that we are always going to need, and it's always going to be around. And it's sex, food, and liquor. You know, like those are the businesses. They're never going to die because it's always needed.
Mm-hmm.
So
I buy that.
right. So
And
if
air is free, so
right, yeah, and water you can go to the river, drink. Probably not a good
You do
idea.
that often?
But no.
that would explain those
there a river?
sores and boils you have.
Is there a river nearby? I don't think there's even a river.
Yeah, it's
Body
right
of
over
water?
here, right down Fender in there.
Oh yeah, totally safe.
Yeah, no,
Totally
that's
safe.
fine.
I watch Bear Grylls.
Yeah,
It
you,
teaches me to pee upstream.
you can drink that. You'll just have lumps in your neck the next day and shit blood.
Yeah, totally. Sounds like a party. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it would be awesome, but it's a very dangerous thing to get into, and
A lot of risk.
yes, there's a lot of risk with it.
And I would imagine you're only as good as the people you hire. Too.
Correct, too. That's not even just that's not all it is, too. It's like you have to find something that makes you different from everybody else.
Yeah.
You have to know the right how you want to be seen. You know, it's just like the people that are going to work for you. It's crazy, and it's expensive.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those industries where even somebody like low in the totem pole, just like a server or a hostess or something like that, they could screw up, a person's entire night without even blinking. You know what I mean? And that could be like a huge problem.
Yeah.
It could really ruin your
Dude,
reputation.
One, especially nowadays with everything online, social networking, apps that literally just rate your experience at a restaurant, which they should just shut down and crumble under a rock, and we all know who they are.
You could say Yelp. I don't have any actual sponsors.
Screw those people because no one goes on there. I think it's like a 5-to-1 ratio of people who go on there to say something nice.
5-to-1?
I don't know. Is that a good ratio? What's the ratio?
I don't know. It depends on the place. I've seen places that had all good reviews.
That's because they paid them to put only...
Does that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yelp will come to you and ask you to... If you want to pay them, they'll keep all the good ones out front.
So that really happens?
Yes.
Would they have somebody from Yelp, they physically go to the bar and talk to you, or
No, they'll just call because they're just a business, and they're like, if you have an account or something, they're like, you want to do this, and we'll take down your bad ones and then put up your good ones and this and that. But I feel that only people, it's like Twitter to me. I don't understand Twitter because I feel like people who use Twitter are only ones that complain.
Yeah, Twitter's just a cesspool. It's terrible.
That's why I feel like Yelp is people who just want to complain.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it.
Because I think if somebody has a good experience, they're going to tell other people.
Well, in defense of that, I have personally been to a place, thought it was fantastic, and went on Yelp immediately.
Well, then that's good.
To say how wonderful
Everyone
the place
else
was.
should do that.
Yeah, why not? I feel like more often than not, people's experience at a place is going to be kind of mediocre, and nobody's writing Yelp reviews for an experience.
Right.
It's either got to be really good or really bad.
Fair. That's a good point.
Unless you're just a nerd.
And likes Yelp.
Those people are there.
Well, they definitely need Yelp.
And you're going to make a good dad one day.
Oh, I have so many good dad jokes. It's fantastic. Why did the lifeguard not save the hippie?
Why?
Because he was too far out, man.
It's a good one.
Right?
Why do Norwegian ships have barcodes on them? So they can Scandinavian.
Yes, perfect. Yes.
So, if you could think of one thing you would say to anybody,
Cookies.
all right, that's the show.
I'm just hungry. That's all. It's just me.
If you could think of like anybody coming up in the industry, say you had a young guy looked up to you kind of like a mentor, you could give him one piece of advice. He's decided whether or not he wants to do this. You know what I mean? What would you say to him?
Wait, he's deciding not to do this, or to
whether
do
or
this?
not he wants to pursue it or move on to something else.
Oh man. Get out. No, I'm just kidding.
Change your socks every time we stop.
Always look behind you.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me one thing.
Because keep in mind, the whole goal is to tell people something they might not know yet. So I feel like, and I know some of our listeners are young dudes. If you're thinking about getting into bartending, a good piece of advice from our own personal mixology professor.
Oh man, that's tough. I would say maybe treat others as you would be treated, as you would want to be treated.
Yes, and that's simple.
Yes, and
Why? Why is that specifically applicable?
because who you're taking care of all depends on your job.
What do you mean?
Like, that's your job. You are in the service industry. You're in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
So the person you're taking care of is literally the most important part of your job. So how you present yourself, how you do your job, how that person leaves after you do all these things is the base of everything you do, because how they perceive the experience is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I also suggest not going to bartending school.
Really?
Correct.
Why?
Definitely. They teach very bad habits.
Really?
I think it's not saying that it's bad, because, I know people that have done it, but it's out of date. It's very out of date, and it needs to be refreshed. There are things out there now, but they're online that you can learn, like, really good stuff. But bar school is
more or less a waste.
Yes, don't spend your money on it.
Okay, fair enough.
If you want to learn bartending,
just do
get
it.
involved with somebody who's done it, or just start from the bottom. Work at a good bar. Pay your dues and learn as much as you can while you're there. And it's the best. There's a lot of great books. I know 2 people that have become very great bartenders just from reading books.
Really?
Yeah, and it's fantastic.
Okay, good advice. Now, last question of the night, probably the most important for all of our listeners. Why, oh why, do they not have technology for the registers that allows you to split a tab? Why is it every other place, oh, we can't split that, we can't do that? Why does that not exist, or are they just fucking with us?
I don't know if I should say the secret.
I want to know here and now.
It's a pain in the ass.
Why? Why is it so hard?
Because it's time consuming, depending on how many people it is. POSs, which is what
Pieces
we call.
Of shit?
Yes, that's what we call them. They're actually POS. I don't actually know what it stands for. I don't know. It's a POS. It's like personal operating system.
Okay.
Maybe I would assume. But yes, we joke because we call piece of shit. They're very expensive to have a good system, but there are ones that split checks. Everyone can split checks.
So if they say they can't, they're just lying.
Yes, because number one, you didn't go in the right direction for it to help the server or bartender to do that.
You're supposed to tell them ahead of time.
Correct. it makes our lives so much easier. I would never mind doing that if you would tell me ahead of time, because then I can have it organized. I personally work with a system that makes splitting checks very easy. If you are going to split checks and everyone uses cash, then you're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, well, that goes.
Because then there's no reason. You just all put cash together. Thank God for Venmo, because that has kind of created splitting checks.
We prefer the Cash App here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well.
No, honestly, I don't give a shit.
But if you have Venmo, then just Venmo each other, you know, and have one person. But it's not. It's just a little bit of time consuming, and
if it's
especially
busy, it's really
especially if it's a lot of people and no one told you ahead of time, then you gotta organize what everyone had and remember what everybody had, you know, this and that. All you gotta do is just tell them ahead of time. It'll be nice and easy. Yeah, most of the time they're probably just fucking with you.
Yeah. Well, folks, you heard it here. Get your shit together before you open the menu.
Yes, it's no worries. Just tell us you need your separate checks and everything's all good.
All right.
There's no worries. Yeah.
So
I don't mind separating your check.
Oh, I know you don't.
Everybody has to tip 50% then.
What's a good tip? Good percent?
A 20% tip is fine.
Yeah.
So 20% tip is what's
standard.
Standard, I guess you would say. A 30% tip, well, 25% tip would be like nice. 30% tip is like if you had a good time. You know, if you want to show your appreciation for being taken care of.
It used to be 15.
I know. But
times are tough, huh?
Yes. Yes, well, there's a lot of money out there given to people, and us bartenders aren't getting it. I'm not
above making something for yourself.
Yes, I'm not a professional athlete who gets a 1.2 billion contract. I don't even know where that money comes from. How are we paying those people?
Ticket prices, man.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't watch sports.
We have people starving. We have people starving and homeless, and we're giving one dude billions of dollars to play what he wants to do.
I don't know if it's billions, but
okay.
I see your point.
Million.
I see your point.
It is millions.
Many millions.
Yes.
More millions than either of us have.
Yes.
All right.
I have $3. I do. In my wallet, I have $3.
Well, you cherish those $3.
Yep.
All right. So, anything you want to say? Anything you want to promote before we get out of here? I know you're working on a project. I'm not going to get into it. I'll let you.
Oh
say
yes.
what's...
So in this most recent year, the last couple months, I've been starting to do competitive bartending. Not flair, even though that's still a thing. It's all over the world, but this is like.
You know, the Nazis made the Jews wear flair.
That's just messed up.
That's a line from Office Space. Okay, there's not. We're not history buffs. Just to make sure everybody got that. That could have been taken out of context.
So there's it's kind of like a new step when you kind of plateau as a bartender. Is started competing, because competitions get you into those places where you can advance. Like you asked me, like where do you go from here?
Okay.
You can become an ambassador. You can become a liquor rep. You can become an owner or manager, at least before an owner. But winning competitions or even competing gets a lot of exposure, a lot of networking, this and that. So I actually took that up not too long ago. I competed in my first big competition in October. I was top 10 in the state.
Nice.
So that was really cool. My first time competing, and I placed. The finals didn't do so well, but it was my first time. I was going against some awesome bartenders that are like seniors in the competing world. Mm-hmm. So I have been in the works of making my own competition where it's a little more lax and not so serious and a little more fun. And there's no money involved as a prize, because I feel like when you put money involved, it gets too hardcore and serious, and everyone's cranky because they didn't whatever. So I created this really cool, fun competition with some. I have a great team of people that's working with me to do it, and it's going to be in April 8th, in Somerville, at
Nice.
Project Pub. Yeah, so it's local. There's 8 bartenders. It's bracket style. It's all blind. All you do is you bring your tools, and that's it. There's no like pre-prepping. There's no not knowing what you're making beforehand. It's all off the top of your head. So it's gonna be really cool to see skills and like just it's basically going to work, but you're gonna be like working with people you haven't worked with before, and like it's gonna be a really cool experience. And it's the first one, so we're hoping it goes well. So we're gonna keep doing it.
Do you have a set date?
Yeah, it's April 8th.
April 8th, Project Pub, Somerville, New Jersey.
Yeah, yes. It's called the Mix-Off.
The Mix-Off.
Yes.
Sounds dope, man.
Yeah, I wanted bar fight, but it seems too violent.
Yeah. Too many people coming in with the shivs.
Yes, so yeah, we couldn't go down that route. But yeah, it should be fun. It's going to be really cool. As of now, I believe it is free to come. So you will be able to drink, and hopefully it'll be entertaining for everybody because it's gonna be a blast.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to tell anybody where they can find you, or are you good? Like Instagram, Twitter, anything?
Yeah, my Instagram is probably my best. It's Colin D 64.
I'll tag you in the show notes. So anybody who wants to find Colin, they can find him. Just click on the show notes. We'll have a link in there for you.
Yeah, and you can find the Mix-Off on Facebook too.
Mix-Off on
it's
Facebook.
Brand new. Yes, it's. So don't get discouraged when there's not many things on the page because it just was made. So it's going to get there, but you can add that too. You can actually, the date and the event are on there.
Perfect.
So if you're interested, you can go just to that site, find it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool. And
I'm looking forward to it, man.
yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming by, bro.
Definitely.
I
like
appreciate you
sitting in
coming.
your living room. I haven't done this in a while.
Oh, we're in the dining room, man.
Dining room. Yes. Well, yeah. You can still live in it.
AKA my lair.
You can live in the dining room.
You could live anywhere.
The whole house is a living room.
We're living right now.
Yes. Living and breathing.
Isn't it up to me to decide which rooms are bedroom? That bedroom's got an oven in it. That bedroom's in that guy's house.
Why do people get so mad when the escalator is broken? They just become stairs.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. As always, you know how to get in touch with us. Instagram, Twitter, at APodAmongstMen. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want us to talk about on the air, you can reach us at APodAmongstMen@gmail.com. And, yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Right? Bye. Bye, Colin.
Bye.
Thanks, buddy. I love you. All right, guys. Peace.